All the average Joes understood that. They understood that the top guy got taken out. That guy has to be even above him. That's it.
And that's the basic plot of the Bourne Identity. So now to talk about Trundle. Welcome to Casuals of Runeterra, episode 24. I'm your host, Ryan, here with your other host, Hetch.
What is up, everybody?
We are big. We are big.
We are back, comrades.
Yeah, nothing special. Let's get into it. All right.
Let's get frosty. Let's get frosty, boys.
Housekeeping. You listen to us anywhere. Follow us on Twitter to keep up to date on episodes. That's where we refresh the most. At Podcast Core, that's COR, and then you can email us at the same name at gmail.com. Please leave a like, follow, and or short review / comment, and tell a friend to join the Casuals of Runeterra tribe.
Yeah, and it's a 5-star review with a star emoji, and get the 6 stars.
Yes, 6 stars. Fate of the game. What do you, or state of the game? I haven't made that mistake since I think episode 1. Do you remember? Let's go back and talk. You remember episode 1? We did all that practice and I completely botched the intro. I should have just named that episode Pilot because that allows you to get away with.
Oh yeah, just like put that one as a pilot, but make that the first episode we put up, and it's just like, yeah, this is what you know to expect. Just set the bar low. Yeah.
So we've had a reset recently, and there will be an episode. I keep mentioning we're going to do that episode where we talk about the future of Runeterra, which they talked about in a YouTube video, but we'll get there. We'll see. Yeah, but there has been a new season. New season started. New cards have been introduced with the latest set. But I'm still playing Jinx, Draven aggro. So World of Warcraft is happening. There's stuff happening there, and I had to split my time, and I didn't really have space to get into the new cards. I only looked at them just so I knew what I was playing against. But Jinx, Draven aggro, or sorry, not Jinx. Yeah, Jinx, Draven aggro is looking real good right now.
You monster. Of course it's looking good. Like new cards come out, and most people are like, hey, you know what I want to do? I want to have fun with some of these new cards. And then some people, like you, farm them with established aggro decks.
So what are you playing? You had more fun.
Yeah, and this is where it's like I was playing scouts. No, I did decide to jump in and have some fun. I'm trying to save my shards and stuff for the next region release. Yeah. So I want to unbench the Kench. Yeah. I can't yet. I have not gotten him in my pools, so instead I have been kind of messing around with a deck that's Soraka and Sejuani, that is built more or less around this the Spring of Life. Yeah. So alternate win conditions, always fun to play with, and of course, guys like Swim and Mogwai have already been posting decks that are Soraka, Tom Kench. Yeah. The Spring of Life decks, and they look ridiculous, and thus makes me even more upset that I didn't get my chance to unbench the Kench. But
you might have to use those expedition tokens, man, to get some limited and get some free cards.
I need to. I got too excited, too caught up in trying to build with what I got. So
I feel you, but I've seen that deck bumping around. It looks like a lot of fun. I hate alternate win conditions, which we've talked about, but that's why that makes the show so good, right? Because
that's why you're still playing discard aggro. Oh, you're trying to heal your units? I'm going for the Nexus.
Yeah, I'm gonna kill you. It reminds me of way back in the day in WoW days, or Magic the Gathering days. One of the professionals named Sam Black, they asked him how's his approach to deck building and what he chooses to play. And he said, the way I look at it is you have 20 life. My goal is to get you to 0. and like exactly 0. I'm not trying to go over. I'm trying to get you from 20 to 0, and everything else that happens in that time frame, we adjust for. And I was like, all right, that's the way I want to play as a young, a very influential child.
This is why I never got good at like competitive Magic, because like I am definitely that guy going, yeah, I think if I put these together, I can do 80 damage in one turn. And now I try to work around this 6-card combo.
All right, let's get into it. Let's get to the main topic. Ice, baby. This title just made itself. We're talking about a Trundle today. But we're starting with spells. So what's this first spell you got for us?
Yeah, nothing says trolls like talking about magic. All right. So, of course, this one kind of is a layup, but it's a card that really just stood out with the release of Trundle is Troll Chant.
Yeah.
So Troll Chant is a 2-mana burst speed spell. Give an ally +0/+2 to give an enemy -2/-0 this round.
Yeah.
So this one is great because it's like on the surface it just kind of looks like a 2 health buff, but it's that -2 attack really is just like a 4 damage swing. And like net total swing, and like this is one of those combat tricks that like it's very flexible, which combat tricks don't tend to be flexible, right? Like they unless you buff Bastion, which we all asked for.
3-mana burst spell.
But with this one it is really flexible. Like you can use this as far as just to really target one enemy, you're blocking it, that 4 damage is all in that one exchange and it's a huge blowout. Or you can, balance it out as far as like I want to keep this unit alive and I'm going to nerf the damage off this one unit I'm not blocking, so I'm taking less damage. It's a lot of flexibility that is a little uncommon for
and it's balanced. This is a balanced card.
Very balanced, and it's a great card. And then it's also like the lore side of it, like there's not a lot of lore attached to this, but there's definitely like a lot of like little implications that could be there, because like maybe we are going to see more as far as like get more of the story from the trolls themselves as far as how their chants actually affect the other tribes of the Freljord and their survival, and that whole way that the damage is kind of mitigated around really gives that vibe of absolutely fear pooping yourself because the trolls are coming.
Yeah. And that takes us into part of the tribe, which is the Augur of the Old Ones.
Oh yeah, I love this card. All right, and it's not even good, but I love it. So this is a 6-mana 5/5 with Overwhelm and Regenerate, and it has a play effect of if you behold. So if you behold an 8+ cost card, grant an ally Overwhelm and Regenerate. One of the very first decks I was kind of playing around with this card was a Taric deck, and like the whole goal of that deck was to put this effect on Taric and then make Taric the biggest boy possible. And man, was it truly outrageous. Like
he said it. He said the thing.
He said the thing. Outrageous. But the Augur of the Old Ones also has like, it really gives the other side of the trolls as far as the connection with the magics that are prevalent in the Freljord. Whether or not the trolls fully understand it, they still adhere to the knowledge and wisdom of someone who is more attuned towards it, and thus the Augur of the Old One. And
yes, it's like tribal magics in general, where it's that connection to, especially in Freljord, that connection to the land and the natural way of things that allows them to connect versus any extended knowledge of the gods.
Yep. And otherwise, like the card's just cool. Like it's not good. Like a 6-mana 5/5 is not good. But my God, do I find this card a blast? And
But there are cards that are good. And this kind of takes us into the next one, right? Which is obviously Trundle, the chieftain himself, or how he got there.
We'll get into how good his card is, because
we'll get there, and then we'll have a little. My question for you today kind of leans into that a little bit more.
Oh no!
But just obviously, we start with the lore here. So he's from a tribe, right? And the tribe is kind of described like a Spartan-like approach, right? When it comes to raising children. You ever seen 300? It's the strongest and the fittest survive, right? After that point, they join the main tribe, and then they go on the raids and, pillaging and all that good stuff. And Trundle, from the get-go in this story, the way it's written, seems smarter than your average bear, which is a problem when everyone else is an average bear. So, right, you stand out, and you're supposed to keep your chin low, and adhere to what's known. But there is a point.
Just be average, little Timmy.
Just be average. So there's a point where they go on a raid, they come back, they did all the pillaging, and the chieftain's like, you know what? I still got adrenaline pumping through my veins. Let's go again. And he's like, why? We just left and we raided the whole place. There's not much more to get. Why not just wait until another time when they build everything back up? The cows are fatter, there's more resources, and then we go back. And everybody kind of like record scratch, turns to him, freeze frame, and he's like, I bet you're wondering how I got here. And the chieftain hits him in the chin. The chieftain cracks him with a rock, and then they toss him essentially off a cliff. And it's like, all right, bet. He gets casted out. So now Trundle's an outcast, right? Wandering the Freljord. You all right?
And then, just the callback. I bet you're wondering how I got here. Like, how could you do that to me?
Rock comes over his head.
Crack pause.
So he wanders the Freljord and stumbles on this like ice lake, but the ice is completely black and there's like nothing under it. And he's wondering where he's at. And then he finds out this witch, this ice witch, Lysandra, maybe? Huh? Maybe? They do mention a human tribe with her, so we don't know who the actual witch is, what her form is. But he does come across this ice witch, and she's like, what are you doing here? How did you get here? It's kind of like a Glade situation, right? Is you're not supposed to, normal people can't come here. So then she tells him, you must be iceborn. Which, if you go back to our, Avarosan section where we talked about Ash
and Tryndamere,
and Sejuani, the Iceborn thing continues. This special thing, this Harry Potter dash of MSG per se, and
I'm done with you.
And she gives him an offer to stay. She's like, hey, do you want to hang out with us and just kind of travel with us and be a part of our group? And he's like, I really want to return to my tribe. But he has this, I forgot what his name is, the guy he kind of looks up to as the troll hero. But he wants to be like him. He wants to be special. He wants to have a special weapon. And he wants to go back to his tribe and prove himself.
It's Grubgrak.
And she's like, all right, bet. Here's something that might make you a little bit special. She hands him his new weapon. Is it Bone Shiver?
Bone Shiver.
It reminds me of like Ice Knife.
Ice Knife.
Bone Shiver. But yeah, she gives him Bone Shiver. He then's like, all right, bet. He leaves, returns to his tribe, runs up to the chieftain and just cracks him with Bone Shiver, completely freezes the guy, and then cracks him again, breaks into a bunch of pieces, and everybody's like, all right, bet, you're the man now. We're not gonna, no one's gonna challenge you.
Hey, all the average Joes understood that. They understood that the top guy got taken out, that guy has to be even above him. That's it.
And that's the basic plot of the Bourne Identity. So now to talk about Trundle. I'm just joking. So let's you have any comments on like the actual lore? It's pretty cool lore because we always talk about the old lore, right? For a lot of these original characters. And his was completely different from this.
His lore was like adorable as far as in theory, but then like the substance literally was just him being a trash panda.
Yeah.
And that was it. That was the end of lore. I just summed up the entirety of his old lore. And so this rework was very cool and needed.
Yeah.
Like, even if they had kept the whole theme of him being a trash panda, essentially, like, he needed more substance to him. So this was a great turn, but also, like, kind of giving more of an insight into the Iceborn. And the fact that Iceborn kind of transcends more than just, lucky humans. So there's more to the Iceborn that we don't understand. And the other thing that, like, I hope that we get to see more of and that we can get to go into is his journey from getting tossed off the cliff into actually wandering onto the frozen lake.
Yeah.
Because, like, and even in these little excerpts, we get, like, how he's trying to sneak past Yetis, which is, like, pretty much the first time in anyone's lore that, like, they actually talk about the Yetis. And when we look at some of the cards that came out with the Trundle set, like, there's I'm blanking on the name of the card right now. It's an 8-drop that's like 7/7 with Challenger and Overwhelm. That's like this terrifying monster, but he's named.
It has like 6 feet or legs or whatever.
Okay, Uzgar the Ancient.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so it's like, and it's Challenger and Regenerate. Okay. But it's like who's Uzgar the Ancient? Like, and I think, and I want to say that, like, especially since he came out, like, that card is being dropped at the same time as Trundle, maybe that's more to his story. Like, his story is good while also leaving a lot of doors to potential other stories, which is exciting.
Yeah. So, let's hop into the card real quick, which is a good card to be added to the set and reflects him very well. So he's a 5-cost 4/6 that has regeneration. And when I am summoned, create an Ice Pillar in hand, and his level up is I've seen you play Ice Pillar. Ice Pillar is a 8-cost 0/8 that has vulnerable. And then when you play it, it refills 8 mana, so it's essentially free. And then play and round start, give the strongest enemy vulnerable this round, which is a pretty neat effect to have. So Trundle, it makes sense because these being Iceborn and having Bone Shiver has given him this ability to regenerate, right? She says he regenerates faster, and trolls in general do regenerate faster than other, races here. And then when he flips, he's more like Chieftain Trundle, where now he has Overwhelm on top of everything. And then when I'm summoned, still create an Ice Pillar. But on attack, grant me +1/+0 for each 8+ cost card you behold. So it's not huge, but he's already a good card, right?
Right.
At that point.
Like, Trundle, the card itself is like, when the set dropped, this was a meta-defining card.
Yeah.
Like, especially before we saw the Lee Sin rework, it was A Soul Trundle.
Yeah.
And that was the deck everyone was trying to beat. And I don't think that would have been possible if not for how good of a card Trundle is. Because don't get me wrong, A Soul is out of this world. Like, if you survive to 10 and he can survive a turn and flip, like, the value out of him is ridiculous. But
I love how you said he's out of this world, by the way.
Yeah, but
he's too good, guys.
He's too good. But, like, with Trundle, it's like, if you flip it, clear my throat, you're in my kingdom now, and like, bam, like, you get this like A Soul deck centric hand with like 5 cards that are all above 8, and then there's this 7 health thing that there's no way that you can block, that's also swinging for like 12.
Yeah.
And it's
I'm gonna try to kill you before that point.
Overwhelmed.
By the way, like, that's my goal, is to kill you before that. I don't want to deal with any of that, so I don't. I try to get in there. Yeah. That's what people say.
The discard aggro player.
I'm like the chieftain, right? Before Trundle becomes great and mighty, I'm gonna crack you over the head with a rock. That's kind of my approach here. But this takes me directly into the question of the day, which is, do you like this common fantasy inclusion of trolls? Right? Because the troll race it's been in everything, right? And it's something that a lot of people are familiar with. But with, Legends of Runeterra, from the beginning, it didn't really take that straight and narrow path of your standard fantasy. So for them to introduce Trundle and then redo the lore in a way that introduces the race of trolls, not just Trundle as an individual, do you like that addition and their power set and essentially how they're thrown into the Freljord with all these other human tribes, etc.?
That's a good question.
Yeah, I know. I asked it. Come on.
Man, screw you. I guess if I'm being honest, I do like it as far as just specifically talking about how League of Legends wasn't really meant or starting out as being just a standard high fantasy thing. Mm-hmm. So when you're rounding out the lore, I do like it as far as having an inclusion. Do I like just specifically trolls themselves? When it comes to high fantasy stuff, I'm a sucker for all of the tropes of dwarves.
Yeah.
If a dwarf is a playable race in any RPG game, it's the same stereotype over and over and over again, and I'm still clicking on dwarf. I that's my favorite fantasy trope.
Yeah.
So
I guess, for one, am a Drizzt Do'Urden, a fanboy, so I fall into the dark elf, night elf camp when it comes to things I like included.
You would. You're always connected to the darkness.
I know, right? I think, just kind of to steal the own question I asked, I like it. I think it's a familiar standpoint for anyone who's read fantasy or has been involved in any type of fantasy medium. And it's cool from the Freljord standpoint, specifically for me, because, the Freljord is supposed to be this not chaos, but essentially this desolate, dangerous land where only the strongest survive. And you have these tribes, like we talked about in our Ash and Sejuani episodes, go listen to those, that they're not barbaric, but they're tough and they're put through these trials and tribulations so that, a normal martial arts related group or clan in Ionia, it's going to have a tough time trying to deal with an Avarosan tribe, right? Because they are that stereotypical. But then to say, okay, we have these big dangerous things, but also there are trolls. And those trolls go through the same tough, rigorous test of time that everyone else does. So they're even tougher than normal trolls. And these clans collide a good bit, which we get in some of the text here. Yeah. Which is cool.
And I do think that familiarity is very important. I stumbled on that word a lot. I do think having something familiar is important when you're introducing something that is new and unique, like Yordles. And especially because League of Legends fans hate all the Yordles. When you make that pivot, you might as well have something that is, tried and true. We know you're going to like it. Yeah. The Men's Warehouse, I guarantee it. And
you're going to like the way you look.
I guarantee it. And then it's okay, here's your troll. All right, now come check out, come check out Teemo's lore. And then every League of Legends fan is flipping their tables in their house.
So you're saying that they probably have elves in their back pocket waiting for the next time they have to play the card.
It's got to be elves, right? Because I think they already kind of wrote out dwarves with because Poppy would be a go-to dwarf character.
I think Yordles kind of fill that dwarf / gnome perspective,
right? But I do like where the position that Yordles are in, lore-wise, because it gives you that little bit of a revolving door when it comes to the world of the fairy, which we see with Lulu, which check out our Lulu episode. We go into that as far as how the fairy world is connected through one specific Yordle. And so since they have that, I think they do write off a good bit of your gnomes, your dwarves and stuff. We're probably not going to see those. So it probably would be elves.
Well, Legends are League of Legends is going to be around for the rest of our life, so we might see it. We could get there. We'll see how desperate they get.
We'll see how desperate they get. No, okay, no. I you know what? I'm gonna make the call. I'm gonna make the call here.
Uh-oh.
All right?
Oh no.
No.
Be careful. Riot listens.
Instead of elves, it's gonna be merfolk or some kind of rendition of merfolk, and that's gonna connect to the city that Fizz was actually around for.
Okay. That's actually a good call.
That's it. The prophet has spoken.
Yeah, if you guys have seen the latest set, we nailed a couple of those calls, and we'll get into those episodes. We've been overflowed. Is that? That's not it.
Overflowing?
I'm gonna say flooded. We've been flooded with content from Riot lately with the new release. So we have some catching up to do. So we'll bounce around regions, and we still have to get to Noxus. We haven't forgotten. Hopefully they don't raid us before.
We're trying
So hard.
We did Targon before Noxus.
Darius, please give us time. We need more time.
Like, it was bad enough we did Bilgewater before Noxus. We then went and did Targon before Noxus. So then, like, when we are talking about, like, especially this guy over here geeking out over a redhead that wants to kill me, like, anyone listening to this is going to be like, Hetch is so full of crap. Like, they put this off to the end. He doesn't care about any of these Noxus characters.
So with that, thanks for listening, and we'll be back soon with the next episode.
Take care, everybody.